Hey, I'm Doug. This is Backcountry Pilgrim, a channel devoted to backpacking, camping, hiking, and all the gear that goes with it. If you're into that stuff, I hope you're a subscriber. But if that subscribe button down there is bright red, you are not. So why don't you click it, and then we'll get started. Today I'm going to go through my backpacking cook system and compare it to some of the systems I've used before so that you can see the difference and maybe make some decisions for yourself. Eating on the trail. It's a big deal. It's one of the things that I think many new hikers and backpackers fears the most. Am I going to get out there and starve to death? Well, I'm here to tell you that cooking on the trail has never been easier. Generally speaking, if you just invest in a decent cook system, it's going to be very simple. You're not going to have any major problems. You will be able to eat, and you'll even be able to eat things that taste pretty good. Now, in a separate video, I'm going to be going over some of the meals that I've tried out. I also have a collaborative video that I did with two good friends of mine where we talk in depth about our food strategy for the trail. But right now, what I really want to talk about is the cooking gear or the cook system that I use on the trail. Before me, I have laid out pretty much every part of any cook kit I have ever used on the trail, including my current one, and I will be talking about those in this video. If you look down in the description, I will have links to everything that I can find on here, and if you click those, that actually helps the channel out, so I'd appreciate it. If you decide to buy one of these things, check it out using one of those links.
Money, please!
Now, I am a pretty lazy guy. I do not like complicated things when I am backpacking especially, and that includes cooking. I know there are some really great backcountry cooks out there that bring in loads of amazing ingredients, fry pans, everything else, and they cook amazing meals on the trail. And in a camping situation, I can totally understand and appreciate that. However, I'm not that great of a cook even in my house, much less on the trail, so I am probably not going to take the time to figure out the ingredients, figure out which ones are going to last and how long they can last, bring all the equipment. To me, that just sounds like a nightmare. So at this point in my life, at this point in my backpacking experience, I pretty much just go with the prepackaged meals, snacks, pretty standard stuff that you're going to find in any store or any backpacking outfitter. So I am not going into any kind of elite things here. I don't have any super specialized equipment. If you're just getting started backpacking or you're starting to build up your kit, you're not going to have any trouble finding anything that I'm about to show you here. My cook system is basically just a way to get water boiling. Now, I have another video on purifying water, so that's not really why I bring it, but that is an added benefit. If you're able to boil water, you can purify it, and if you are able to boil water, you can have quite a feast on the trail. Right here in my custom Hilltop Packs food bag, I have got a number of different meals that I might bring on the trail. And in fact, I'm going to cook one of them right here on this video for my dinner tonight. So in here, I've got coffee. This is Starbucks Via. These little tubes are great to take with you out when you're packing. I've got a couple of oatmeal packs. If you're not into oatmeal, I understand. There are more robust meals you can get pre-made from companies like Backpacker's Pantry, Mountain House Meals, Green Belly, there's plenty of them out there. Everything in front of me here can be cooked completely with just boiled water. None of these will result in dirty dishes other than my utensil. And that is because each one of them comes in a package that you can actually use to mix the boiled water in and eat right out of it, rather than cooking it in your pot and having to clean it up when you're done. Let's start from the basics and talk about stoves. When I was first getting started backpacking, the stove that I chose was the MSR Whisperlite. This is a classic backpacking stove. You would attach a fuel bottle here, and then you would pour a little bit in this bowl, light it on fire until it heated the stove element up, and then at that point you could crank it up and actually use it to heat something up. Now, this is a pretty tough little stove. It works well at high altitude. The kind of fuel that it uses is pressurized by you by pumping the can up. So it does really well in a number of situations, but it is not the most lightweight stove in the world. Just the stove alone, without its fuel can, is a solid 9 ounces. And it is also really kind of a pain to light. When you fill this bowl up with fuel and you light it, if it starts to heat the element up and then maybe gets blown out by wind, you've basically got to wait until this thing has completely cooled down before you can even start again. Also, as you can see, it's fairly messy. You've got to have a separate gas can, you've got to pressurize it, there's numerous points of failure. Overall, as much as I appreciate this stove and like it for its classic design, it's just a lot. It's a lot of work to get it going. Nowadays, I don't use the Whisperlite anymore. I use a little guy called the BRS-3000. My stove is actually in here. BRS-3000 is a little teeny tiny titanium stove. It weighs in at a hefty 0.9 ounces. And I know it doesn't look like much, but believe it or not, it actually gets the job done. Once you've folded out the arms, that's what it looks like. And you basically just screw this onto your fuel can, which I keep in my pot. There's no pressurization. There is no priming. There's basically no worries at all. There it is. Even with a practically full fuel can, this whole thing is only coming to 7 ounces. That means that the entirety of the stove weighs less than just the stove part of the Whisperlite. So I am very happy with this particular stove. Now, this cozy holds my Toaks Titanium Pot. I've got my lighter, and this is a fairly large pot. I don't really need this much. I think it's 1,100 milliliters. I could have gone with quite a bit less. Everything here can be cooked with 500 milliliters or less. Let me see. Oh, maybe not quite. So this pad thai, which is for 2 servings, wants 2 1/4 cups. That's 540 milliliters of boiling water. The sweet and sour rice and chicken needs 480. The Mountain House lasagna needs 355. Coffee, 8 ounces, so that's 235 milliliters. And then your oatmeal pack says 2/3 a cup. Now that's actually going to fill this bag, so you want to be careful. If you notice this green stripe across here, or this blue stripe across here, that's actually a fill line. You can pour boiling water directly into these packets and cook it in there. If you want to mix them all together and just get done quickly, you can do it in the pot. So you're talking 320, 480, depending on how many of these you want to do at once. So this is a bit of overkill as far as how much I actually really need, but I wanted to make sure that the fuel can would fit inside. Now I think maybe the 750 probably would have worked as well. There are also a couple of other good reasons to have a slightly oversized pot. Number one, you don't want it to be exactly 500, because if you're boiling 500, then it's actually probably spilling. Also, you might have more than one person that wants to share the pot, and if I've got somebody else that wants to boil water, I don't want them to have to wait and eat in succession when I could just do both of our waters at the same time. Further, for breakfast, I can have enough left over to have coffee with my breakfast and not have to heat up the water twice. So I am pretty happy with this pot, even though it is a little bit too big for some of these meals. It only comes in at 3.4 ounces. I mean, this thing just feels like a piece of paper. So I don't worry too much about it. This one has a lid that can double as a little fry pan. The lid is 1.5 ounces. So if you want to consider this a single system, you are looking at just shy of 5 ounces for the whole cook kit. Let's compare that to my original steel. Now this pot has a nice hefty handle on it, big lid that doesn't double as anything. Now this is also from MSR, and although it is very well built, I mean this thing is going to last you the rest of your life, it is pretty heavy. The pot comes in at 12.5 ounces. So 12.5 versus 4.9? Yeah. So you're talking like 2.5 of these to equal one of these. Now this is very strong. If I had to fight a bear or something, I'd rather have this than the Toaks. But given that I almost never fight off bears with my cook kit, it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, once I have cooked my food, it is time to consume it. And for that, you need some kind of utensil. Now in front of me here, I have numerous possibilities, all of which I have used over the years. When I started off, I basically just got a set of silverware that was just made of some kind of high-density plastic. So it was very lightweight. This spoon and fork combo together come in at 0.7 ounces. I then realized that this is kind of a pain. It's two things to carry around. Why not consolidate? So this is the My Fire Spork, which you have probably seen if you have done camping. It comes in at 0.4 ounces. So this is a super lightweight option. The spoon's got a decent bowl. It's fairly flexible, but it even has like a little knife edge on the fork side. So this is actually the K-Bar Spork. It's a spoon and a fork together, so it's a true spork, but it also has a knife in it. So if you've got to cut up your steak in the backcountry, you've got a knife ready to go. How much does it weigh? 1.3 ounces, but you can fight off a ninja with it. Now the most popular utensils today are your long-handled spoons. If you remember, I said that you can actually cook these kinds of meals in their package. The problem is that once you get done, if you've got something like this little Light My Fire, you're not going to be able to get to the bottom of it without sticking your hand into the bag, which means that you're probably going to come out with food all over your hand, which is both gross and wasteful. So the long-handled spoon is the solution to that problem. Now this right here is the Sea to Summit aluminum spoon. It comes in at 0.4 ounces on my scale. Its competitor is the Toaks Titanium spoon, this one with a polished bowl. It comes in at 0.7. So, which one is better? Well, it depends on what you want. The aluminum spoon is coated all the way through, so it's got a little bit more of a texture to it. You may or may not like that. As far as strength goes, I don't really feel a huge difference between them. So between it being a little stronger, the polished bowl, and still being super lightweight, this is probably my favorite. What about drink? Well, when it comes to morning coffee, I do have one of these collapsible mugs, which are pretty cool. They seem a little sketchy to me on the structural stability side, but I have used these and they do work. Now, they're not fantastic for heat transference and they don't have a handle, so if you've really got something piping hot in here, you're gonna feel it. And that's why I personally like this guy right here. This mug is made by GSI Outdoors and it's a three-piece system. So you've got a lid with a flip top, you've got a BPA-free graduated cylinder that goes in and serves as your cup, and then you've got a drink cozy with a material handle here that serves as your drinking mug. So this whole thing together with the lid runs 3.7 ounces. And just for comparison, with this guy here, you're looking at 2.2. So for 1.5 ounces, you're getting a lid, you're getting a handle, and you're getting something that you can measure with if you need to. So this is my trail coffee mug. Alright, it is time for me to cook something here. What do I want? I'm kind of thinking that the pad thai is going to be the way to go. So let me see what we've got here. We want 540 milliliters of boiling water. Isn't that pretty? Oh, rookie move. Didn't open the handles before putting it on the stove. Pro tip, your lighters should be bright and as far from the natural surrounding colors as possible so that when you put them down they don't get lost. On this table, for example, not the best color. This one, going to stand right out. I'm going to fast forward so that we don't have to sit here and watch water boil together. Let's see, remove and discard oxygen absorber. This is not the flavor packet. Get rid of that. So I'm going to mix. Do I mix thoroughly? Yes, I do. Mix thoroughly. Seal and let sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Here we go. First bite of Backpacker's Pantry pad thai. flavor is fantastic. It's good though. I'm gonna eat this for dinner. I hope this video has helped you out, or at least been entertaining. If it has, would you mind giving it a like? I would appreciate it. And drop me some info in the comments. What do you use as a cook system? What meals do you like? We are all here as a community to help each other out. I'm always looking for new ideas, so I would appreciate hearing yours. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. All right. Do you want to be featured in this video or not? Because if you're not going to cooperate, I can definitely put Mountain House right in front of you. In fact, you know, take that. Mountain House has cooler stuff on the bottom of the package anyway. Now again, this is very strong. If I had to beat off, I'm not going to say beat off on a video. Jeez. That's not the self-timer, it's on video. Idiot.